To really understand why this matters so much, we have to go back in time. The year is 1935. We're at a specialized chemical plant in Lodi, New Jersey. And on this particular day, something is about to go terribly, terribly wrong.
So what happened? A blender, packed with a really volatile mix of chemicals, suddenly just explodes. And that explosion kicks off a huge fire that just tears through the entire plant. By the time the smoke clears, 5 people are dead, and many, many more are injured. It was a complete tragedy, and one that absolutely could have been prevented.
When investigators started digging into what went wrong, the picture became crystal clear. This wasn't just a simple mechanical failure. No, this was a failure of the entire system. They found that risks hadn't been analyzed properly, the operating procedures were weak, and the operators just didn't have enough training. On top of all that, a key decision was made with bad information, using equipment that wasn't even right for the job in the first place. You put it all together, it was a catastrophic failure of competency.
So, all of this, it brings us right to the heart of the matter. What exactly is process safety competency? And how does it become the very foundation of a safe operation?
Okay, so here's the official definition. It's the capability to apply knowledge and skills to get a task done right. But you've got to pay attention to that last part, including the perception of process safety hazards. See, that's the magic right there. This isn't just about blindly following a checklist. It's about developing the instinct, the wisdom, to see a potential disaster before it ever happens.
And you gotta understand, competency isn't some standalone idea floating out there. It's a foundational pillar, literally holding up the entire process safety management system. You can see right here how it's part of the bedrock, that commitment to process safety. It supports everything else that sits on top of it. Without that strong pillar of competent people, the whole system just gets wobbly and unstable. And get this big idea of competency, it's actually built on 2 key pillars of its own. So let's break those down, shall we? These 2 pillars are organizational learning and employee development. One focuses on the system as a whole, and the other focuses on the individual people within it. And here's the kicker. You absolutely need both to be strong. Yeah, the best way to think about it is like 2 sides of the same coin. They're completely linked. Organizational learning, that's the big picture stuff. How does the company as a whole create new knowledge from experience? How does it hang on to that knowledge? And critically, how does it pass it around? Then you have employee development. That's at the micro level. Are we hiring the right people to begin with? Are they truly fit for their work? Are we training them the right way? And really importantly, do we have a plan for when our key people eventually leave? See, they have to work together perfectly. All right, so we get what competency is. We know what it's made of, but how do you actually build it? How do you weave this into the very DNA of an organization to create practices you can truly depend on? Well, it all starts with a solid, high-level game plan. First, you have to define your goals. What are you trying to achieve? Second, you've got to give someone the ball and let them run with it. Appoint a champion. Third, and this one is so important, you have to show how being competent in safety actually makes the business better, more efficient, higher quality. It's not just a cost, it's a benefit. And finally, you have to work every single day to build a culture where learning is constant and something that everyone values. So what does that actually look like day to day? I mean, this isn't just theory. It means you appoint experts, these technology stewards, who are the go-to gurus for your most important processes. It means you actually write down critical knowledge and then make it super easy for people to find. It means having a real succession plan, bringing in fresh ideas from the outside, and this is a big one, actively encouraging people to talk to each other, to mentor one another so that wisdom gets passed from person to person, not just saved on a hard drive somewhere. But you know how it is in business, right? If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So that's the big question. How in the world do you measure something as complex as competency? This is the question that every single leader should be asking themselves. You've done all this work, you've put in the effort, but is it actually making a difference? Are your people getting smarter? Is your workplace getting safer? How do you know for sure? The answer is all in the numbers, specifically key performance indicators or KPIs. Tracking the percentage of overdue training, that tells you if you're keeping up with the basics. Looking at how many of your expert steward positions are actually filled, that shows you how much the company really values this stuff. Measuring the hours people spend in face-to-face contact, now that reveals the real effort going into mentorship. And the number of up-to-date succession plans, that's a direct reflection of how committed management is to the future. And really, this all boils down to one powerful idea, which this quote sums up perfectly. Information is available anywhere at any time.
However, only competent people can transform information into knowledge. Think about that. Anyone can look up a fact, but it takes a competent person inside a competent organization to turn that raw data into real, actionable, life-saving knowledge. So I'm going to leave you with a final thought, a question to take back to your own workplace. Are you just collecting data, just filing reports and checking boxes? Or are you actively building the competency you need to create real knowledge and prevent the next disaster before it even has a chance to happen?